Melissa.
Hi, Michelle.
Well, I'm glad that we're doing this again because the camera didn't actually record it.
I know, we had some really good stuff, too.
Hopefully
That's
we
okay.
can repeat it.
Here we go. So, I'll tell you,
I'll start.
you'll start, yes. You'll start.
Okay, hi Melissa.
Hi.
Can you tell me what your lesson is going to be about?
Sure. Well, this is going to be a continuation of my last lesson. My last lesson was using the paper boy and using sequential order, transitions, and detail. And in this lesson, I would like to reread the paper boy to him so that he can further understand how the author uses description to add more detail, because he was kind of stuck yesterday in his writing. When he got him to that point, he would add one detail and stop there and then go on to his next paragraph. So hopefully when we go through this activity again and have a discussion, and if I ask better questions, he'll be able to understand that so that he can incorporate that into his writing.
So it sounds like I'm going to be watching the reading portion of the lesson, but you're really concerned like this needs to be applied to his writing. So they're like very connected.
Yes, very much so. Yep.
So why is this a good lesson at this time?
At this time, this is a good lesson because I feel that he was really understanding how to write in sequential order and using transition details. And I didn't want to leave it there and just stop and not use the book again, because I think the book can be helpful. He could go back into the text, he could see how the author did it, we could use some examples. We need more discussion on the book. And I think that would be more helpful for him if we go through it one more time.
Okay, so as the lesson's unfolding, what are you going to be doing to facilitate the lesson?
Well, I want to start asking questions like, how does the author start the story? What are the mornings like for you? Describe the setting. Is it still dark out? So he could see how the detail is being used more. He could see how the author wrote it. And he can give me more than one word responses. And some things I could say was like, Chris, when you wake up, why is it cold outside? Or what is your house like? Is it cold too? I relate it back and forth to his life. And then hopefully he could respond more, give me some more information. I could say, see, that's more detail. That's more description that you're giving me from your responses. So that's what I'm hoping that will come out of the lesson tomorrow.
So what do you see him doing during the lesson?
Actively engaged as far as we're reading it together out loud, having a discussion about it. He's answering my questions. I'm going to ask like sentence starters as far as like Chris's mornings are like, and the mornings of Chris are like, and then he can finish it up for me. So it's going to be a lot of oral assessment at this part in order for me to assess he understands detail, and now he could do it in his writing.
Okay. So earlier, the first time we taped, I brought up that it sounded like you were pretty concerned about your questioning, and we said it almost sounded like you have like a personal goal set for yourself in this lesson.
I have a personal goal because I fall in the trap of asking a lot of closed questions instead of open, and not guiding my students' thoughts a lot. So I thought this is a great way to have him open up and describe more detail for me, and for me to see how I get him started to think using sentence starters and using this book with a lot of detail. So I do have a personal goal to see how I can activate his thoughts and how to activate somewhat of higher level thinking responses. So I would definitely like for you to look for that to see how I interact with my student as far as asking questions to meeting his objective.
Because the questions are really what's going to get him thinking and activating his understanding about the details. So you said that you want him to be able to answer more thoughtful questions. What do you mean by that?
Instead of I don't know or 2 or 3 word responses, more thoughtful questions would be for him to elaborate more, to make more connections. And when he starts talking more about his life, make connections, and I know, okay, great, he's getting this, he's connecting with the text, he's understanding my question now, because I'll be honest, he will tell me sometimes, I don't know what you're asking. And and it's good because I was like, okay, well, my student's telling me this, I need to listen to them and fix that. And hopefully, like I said, we can learn from each other. So
how are you going to plan your questions so that they are thoughtful?
Like I said, I would like to just ask him, just stop after we read and ask him about the setting, ask him about the tone, ask him about the details the author is using, and then after I've asked him about them, discussed it, then I need to ask questions. Well, what is it like in your house in the morning? Are there a lot of sounds? I know he has a sister, and there was a sister mentioned in the story, so I'm like, what does your sister do in the morning? And then we can refer back to the text. So hopefully you could open up about that and let him understand what you're telling me right now are all details. You're adding more description. You're just telling me about your life and making connections.
So it almost sounds like you're asking like him to do some application. Do you know what I mean? Like that higher level thinking questions.
I'm trying to learn that it doesn't have to be so elaborate. Maybe that's why I was so shy, or I don't want to say shy, but nervous of asking higher level thinking questions. I'm like, because I don't know how to say it. But as long as he's evaluating, I don't want to say evaluating, but maybe going a little bit beyond comprehending and connecting with his life. I guess I'm a little more analyzing what's happening right now in the story. Maybe looking at what's happening in the pictures to see he could say, oh, well, maybe this is the setting. This is why it's cold. This is why they're wearing this. This is why they're doing that. So that's higher level thinking instead of just giving right there questions. So
I heard you say nervous.
I did say nervous. I was nervous because
of like the higher level questions.
I was. I'm like, how do I form it? I don't even know how to ask open-ended questions. Why am I going to try even ask higher level thinking questions? And that's something where I need to work on because, I'm not going to be afraid to sound stupid because if I don't do it, I won't learn.
And Chris will let you know.
And Chris will let me know. He will tell me right off the bat, like, no, I don't know. So, yeah, he will. He will tell you. So, that's something that I have to encounter with as a teacher and figure out how I'm going to better myself in that. So it is a lot of personal goals in here too.
Well, that's where I come in because I think I can help you figure out if you are asking higher level questions, if your questions are, like you said, thoughtful enough. Is there any sort of model or depiction or graphic of questions that you can think of that I might be able to use?
Maybe using questioning chart or a Bloom's taxonomy chart and seeing what questions I ask or how my student responds to the questions to see how much he says. That would be helpful to me to see overall, like, oh, okay, now I know I need to work on this and what I got from this question.
Actually, that's what I was thinking of, Bloom's taxonomy. I was thinking it might be helpful if I sort of had like the Bloom's taxonomy and then had an area to record your questions and also Chris's responses.
Okay.
Because then I could share that with you and you could reflect on it and think about, I don't know, what patterns you might see. You might find
what I'm doing well at this point in time, what I need to work on, that would be so great because that would be really helpful for me to see.
Because you might find that maybe you are asking higher level questions, you just didn't realize it, or maybe you're not, but realize where you could have used a question or two.
Yeah.
So that might be helpful. Sounds like something I could definitely do.
Great. Thank you so much, Marcel. I look forward to it.
Okay.
Thanks.